there's a few fists flying through the air, then there's all of a sudden Big John, you know, I'm an island.
This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Kalle Sauerland here in Manchester ahead of Chris Eubank Jr against Liam Smith.
You name it, we're there. We're there.
Well, I was going to say, a bit of a calmer press conference than the last one you were at in London with KSI and Tommy Fury.
We've got Bolton. We had Lyndon Arthur for Bolton live on Channel 5 Friday night. Yep. Tomorrow night. Bloody hell. That was a calm one. Today was a frisky one, but not nothing like last week, of course. No, that was like riding a skateboard through the M25.
You know, we'll just start there because I didn't speak to you after that. When you're sat up there with, you've got KSI, you've got Logan, you've got Tommy, you've got Dylan, John, do you just think I'm just going to sit back and leave them to it?
Yeah, I mean, I actually did my talking there before the presser. It's a bit of a different setup with Misfits, so I do my talking and then they come on and I don't shut up because I mean, what am I going to say? You know, who's interested in excuse my language, who's interested in Kalle when you've got, like, I don't know, if they've got, I think they've got accumulated followers of 1 billion or something, and then there's me, little old me sitting up there. You know, no one wants to hear from me, do they? So I just sit there and take it in, and then a bit of cake goes flying, then it's water suddenly, then there's a few fists flying through the air, then there's all of a sudden Big John, you know, I'm an island. Yeah. Kicking tables like they're made of butter, then throwing them, kicking them, and but I stay calm in these situations because I'm used to it. As you saw, my phone went flying. I didn't look whether, you know, my heroic effort to save my phone did not go unnoticed. Yeah, people said to me, did you not notice the things flying above your head? And I'm like, no, because I was looking for my phone, and I found my phone before John could squash it.
In terms of this fight, Chris Eubank Jr is obviously linked up with Bo Mack. What does that add to him ahead of this fight? Because I know there was a bit of talk up here between you and Joe McNally about, just explain what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Joe said, you know, that Roy is a great trainer, and how can you say it's the first time he's got a trainer in the corner? I didn't say that. I said it's the first time he's got a team in his corner, a whole team. Roy Jones doesn't come with a team. Roy is a fantastic trainer. Well, first of all, Roy's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's a good friend of mine and also a great trainer. I'd recommend anyone who asks me, my fighters, from the established fighters to the rookies, anyone who asks me about Roy Jones says he's a fantastic trainer. No. But it's the first time he's had a team in. So, you know, Roy's a relatively, I mean, don't forget, he's still sort of half boxing, but it wasn't long ago he hung up his gloves. And he's establishing himself as a trainer after an amazing career. Whereas this Bo Mack team is obviously they're just involved with Terence Crawford, and they're a big team. So it's the first time. What I was saying was the first time he's got a big team in his corner. Whereas Junior's throughout his career, with the exception of a short stint with Adam Booth, has had obviously Senior as a massive part of his career. Then Roy Jones, but these are personas. You know, they come in as yes, of course, as trainers. Roy Jones came in as a trainer. I'm not saying that, but it's very different to having a 5-man team, 6-man team they've flown out with. You know, it's a different thing. You know, he's been over in Vegas with a whole team of them. So that's the only point I was making. And yeah, Joe didn't quite see it that way, and he's a big Roy Jones fan, as am I. You know, as am I.
Eubank was obviously beaten quite convincingly in the first fight. What gives you the confidence that he can overturn this result?
He was knocked out, you know, which is a beating. You know, like I'm sure people will say, "What are you talking about now? You're trying to sell us here." If you look at the other rounds, he was winning the fight. So, Yeah, he got knocked out by a great punch. Call it a lucky punch, call it a great punch, call it a planned punch, call it an unplanned punch. But it was a punch, right? Followed by a few other things, but it was a bunch of punches with a couple of elbows in there. Had to get that in. But that's the result. That's the result. That's the way boxing works. You can win 11 rounds and get knocked out in the 12th. Just the way boxing works. Ask Michael Moorer, right? You know, when Big George hit him, you know, it's just the way boxing works, isn't it? 4th round, 12th round, don't matter. It's about the result. And here we are, you know, we've got some stick for that rematch clause in the first one, but I put it in there, and here we are, and we got the biggest domestic fight of the year. I keep thinking the roof comes down. I don't know who's punching that.
Just a couple more to finish off.
Terrible technique.
Tell us about Lyndon Arthur's fight tomorrow night, as you said, in Bolton on Channel 5.
Yeah, a big opportunity for Lyndon. It's always a big opportunity when he boxes for a world title, stating the obvious. But it's much bigger when you're doing it on terrestrial television and you can put on that hero's performance, you know. So 10 o'clock, Friday night, tune in. Watch a great night.
The latest with Josh Kelly, when can we see him back?
You'll see him back at the end of the year, before the end of the year. No, he'll be announced very shortly, but November, December.
Just last one. You know, Eddie Hearn was interviewed the other day about to IFL, and he was talking about drug testing and maybe having a Matchroom own drug testing, like 365-day a year sort of testing. Is that, you know, something you think could work and all promoters get on something like that?
I certainly wouldn't do a Wasserman testing service, no, because the nature of testing service is that it's independent. So I don't know if he's been misquoted there or whatever, but I don't think he meant a Matchroom testing, because people, I mean, if I said to you now, I'm going to start my own testing organisation, I think people would think I'm off my rocker, even more off the rocker than they think I am already, but they would actually think I'm around the bend if I said I want to start my own testing organisation. No, we should support testing organisations, and we should, you know, more important than we shouldn't support them even. No, sod them. No, we should be supporting the young fighters to go into fights where they are tested from an early part of the career. Let's not forget, it's especially abroad. By the way, the UK is much more testing than there is abroad. Yeah, and for a young stage of a fighter's career, a lot of big boxing countries would be surprised they're not tested. No, it might be a piss test after the fight. I mean, that's about as useful as a spare prick at a wedding. Yeah, it's like no, it's something that absolutely, and the more you bring it in young, in the early, so I like that part. It's just I think that, you know, you need to. I think the promoters need to get together on it. I really do. I think that the big promoters around the world need to sit down and work something out.
Just to clarify, he did say it was random VADA 365.
What?
He did say it was random VADA 365 drug testing. Just to clarify.
Okay, it wasn't Matchroom testing. That would be.
Well, that he does want it to be Matchroom's kind of you know, flagship.
I don't think any promoter in the world would want their brand being used as a testing agency. I mean, it's a good business, I think, a testing agency. I'm sure it is, but a bit of a conflict that might come through the media if you go out with that now. I think I understand what he's what he's saying now. Yeah, you know, and I don't disagree. I fully agree with it. But I think it should be something that's not just Matchroom. It should be big promoters should get together, and it should be signed up to this. You know, it's not going to work if. So what's going to happen then if one of my guys is fighting one of Eddie's guys? How's that going to work? You know? How's that going to work? So that would basically mean that Matchroom fighters can only fight Matchroom fighters. So no, I think, I don't know, maybe everyone's got an opinion. Eddie's got lots of opinions, and I'm sure he's got a great opinion on it and a great idea on it, but it would have to be inclusive of other promoters, or else how would that work?
Well, Kalle, appreciate your time. Good luck tomorrow night in Bolton with Lyndon Arthur. This fight Saturday in Manchester. Busy times ahead.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.